and welcome. You're watching FYI. I'm Sonal, Mehrotra, Kapoor. Now, next time you travel, will you need just your visa and passport, or will there now be a new passport? Travel industry now has a new term that has entered their vocabulary, and FYI, it's called the vaccine passport. So, the United States President, in an order, has already talked about finding out how feasible is this vaccine passport going to be. Several European countries are all set to roll it out as a digital passport that will allow all citizens to show that they have been vaccinated. Many countries are already requiring proof of negative test for entry, such as passes that could be essential for restarting tourism industry as well. Remember, it's happening in some form or the other here in the country as well. In fact, it's not just governments. Even the airways, Emirates, Etihad are now planning to start using a digital travel pass to help passengers manage their travel plans and also provide airlines and governments documents that would have been required anyways for vaccination and even testing. In fact, it's companies like IBM as well who are, for example, starting or working towards what is called a health pass, a digital pass that will give you not just access to airlines, but sporting stadiums, universities, and even workspaces. So, is a vaccine passport your golden ticket to travel? Well, that is what we're going to find out. So, let's get into our explainer. First up, what is a vaccine passport? Well, it is basically a document that establishes that you have been vaccinated, or in some cases, you have recently tested negative and are eligible to travel domestically or even internationally. In other words, in the COVID reality, a vaccine passport is equal to your golden ticket to the world. When will you need this? Let's talk about that. Now, countries, mostly tourist reliant, pushing for this vaccine passport at this point, and they're saying it's not just for leisure and travel, but even for students planning to study abroad, people planning to work abroad as well. So, who is using this passport at this point or in any other form, in some certificates like it has been floated? Well, several universities, even in the United States, and colleges, even Harvard and Columbia, are already asking for what's called a vaccination certificate. Airlines and transport associations have created their own app. The European Union, for example, has now what is called a digital green certificate to vaccine and to go ahead, and which will show your COVID history as well. Israel, for example, has a green pass that allows entry and permits to various places, and those who don't have it are at a disadvantage. But when you look at what is happening in European Union, because that seems to be one place where really the rollout is going to happen very soon, what exactly is it all about? Well, the EU is all set to make the COVID passport or the vaccine passport available by the 1st of July. Several countries have already started issuing it as well. These include countries like Denmark, Bulgaria, Germany, Greece, Croatia, and even Poland. Iceland, for example, has already started a pilot system for the issuance of these certificates. Switzerland has started issuing them as well. This is first called a COVID passport to all its citizens. The rest of the 20 EU member states are expected to implement this also following what these countries have done, and that's also going to happen very soon. The scheme will run in the European Union from the 1st of July 2021 to the 31st of June 2022. But what exactly is the purpose for them? Well, at least in the EU, this has been done as a bit to restore the freedom of travel. Remember, a lot of European Union countries are relying, their economy relies on travel and tourism. This is also to remove any sort of travel restriction like entry bans, quarantine, and even testing. That essentially means if you have a vaccine passport in the EU, you can travel without any quarantine. But what will it look like? Let's talk about that next. Well, it will basically be a one-piece document on paper or a digital format. There are three types that are mentioned. This is at least in EU that we are seeing at this moment. In the present avatar, it will have a passport which will include your vaccination details. It will have your testing details. It will also have your recovery certificate. It will be issued to those who have been fully vaccinated, people who have been approved and people who've got vaccines which have been approved by the European Medical Agency. These are vaccines like the Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna. These are vaccines like AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson as well. So that's what's happening in the EU. What about the status of these vaccine passports here in India? Well, the Indian government is opposed to this. Dr. Harshvardhan was recently at the G7 Health Ministers Conference, and he said very clearly that vaccine passports would be discriminatory to people in the developing world. And these countries, because they will take much longer to vaccinate more people. So they are at a disadvantage. But what is the WHO saying on this? They are also divided. They say not sure how strong and what kind of protection will be provided by vaccines, basically implying that people can get the infection even despite the vaccine cover. They also go on to say would have implications for vaccine drives as well, as in people with access to money, richer nations and people who are more privileged will get access to vaccines when those who really need it are the vulnerable lot. WHO also says this could result in inadequate supply of vaccines for those who are vulnerable. But let's also look at who does it really apply to, and at the moment in the country, especially for those students who are looking to study abroad, what exactly is the criteria? Where in India, we are not calling it the vaccine passport, but you do need your vaccination certificate. This is applied to students who, and even athletes who are linked with getting a vaccination proof, people going abroad for education, people who are going abroad for jobs as well now need to have this vaccine certificate. Even the Indian contingent going for the Tokyo Olympics needs that, and those who need to undertake international travel till the 31st of August. They also obviously mention of what vaccines are approved. So remember, the WHO has not yet given approval to the Bharat Biotech's Covaxin, so only Covishield is what will give you a ticket to travel abroad. And these new rules in the country, at least in India, will get into effect from the 21st of June.